Thank you for joining us on the Overcomers Overcoming podcast series, where we profile those who have overcome or those who are in the process of overcoming any life topic. We have three objectives with this podcast series. Our first objective is we want you to know that whatever you're experiencing in life, whatever you're encountering, you're not alone. We want to join you to let you know that we together can help you through whatever challenge you may have that at the time may seem too difficult to be able to overcome. Our second objective is to help you determine with a very confident resolve there are multiple solutions, multiple factors involved in any life encounter. It's a matter of thinking into and thinking through the life situation you are encountering to determine the various options, the various solutions that are available to you. Our third objective is to help you with critical thinking skills. If whatever you're experiencing is a result of a decision you made sometime in the past, such that if you had a life redo, you would make a different decision, we want to help you determine the objective facts and factors to evaluate to help you reach a more informed decision. I'm Ron Cooper, founder of the Cooper Culture. I'm with my wife and business partner, Marty. Together we are the Cooper Culture, and the Cooper Culture is sponsoring this podcast series. Today we feature Kawan Glover, who is recovering from the third surgery of a cavernous malformation of the brain. An incredible story. He is still recovering from, and he's unsure just how many years of recovery will take. Marty, it's an inspiring story. What are some takeaways that our listeners can get from this podcast?
The one thing that Juan mentioned was he learned more from his personal experience with the brain surgeries, the recovery, the emotions that he went through than he could learn from a book. Another thing I took from Juan was his mindset. He is determined that he will recover completely.
Let's also listen for his statement where he says, fail often, fail quickly, and fail forward. Juan has an incredible attitude. He is positive. He'll recover. Let's listen. Kawan, thank you for joining us. Our listeners are going to be very interested in your story. I understand that you have gone through three very major brain surgeries, and wonder if you could just somewhat of a top level let us know what those three surgeries were, why, and how you prepared yourself for that, and just a little bit of your life. What can you expect post-surgery, and it's how you're overcoming any aspects of your surgery. So, Juan, thank you very much for sharing with us.
Yeah, thanks, Ron, for having me and giving me this amazing opportunity to share my story. I like to say my life is the open book because I don't know who needs a chapter. But to streamline what happened, I had my first brain surgery in 2014 in August. It was as a result of a mass they actually discovered on my brainstem. They went on to call it a cavernous malformation. Sorry for misspeaking. I had a second one in October 1st of 2015 because it actually grew back. They didn't get it all the first time. And I had my final one on October 12th, 2017, which finally got the mass all out. I didn't understand the cause of it, neither did the doctors, until I talked to someone who was a fellow stroke survivor. I also had a stroke that 2014 year, and he told me the mass might have been there since birth. Because of the stressful environment I was in or how I was living my life, it caused the mass to burst and led me to all those different surgeries, having to get that brain functionality back. Right now, I'm probably at 40% on my right side, which is my dominant side. There's no feeling on the left side of my face, and then the inside of my mouth on the left side. But I am a firm believer that I just will keep pursuing recovery, and I will get 100% functionality on my right side and get feeling returned to the left side of my face. And I don't say it based on medical advice. It's just what I believe, and I know that your mind is a powerful tool. which will allow me to regain that functionality. But while I'm here in this state, I'm going to continue to use my story, my voice, and things I've overcome to inspire others to get the same thing. There are a number of people out there that may feel like they're alone and no one else understands, but I promise you there are a lot of people out there that experience the same, less, or more than you've ever experienced. Actually, a small anecdote here, I actually met someone when I left the hospital that had 5 brain surgeries. So again, you are not experiencing these things alone. It feels like you're alone because nobody in your immediate circle are experiencing these things. But I always say the darkest night always comes for the brightest morning, and your morning is coming.
Wow, you've got a positive attitude, Kawan. I love being with people like you who have such a positive attitude on life. Take us back mentally to that first surgery. Did the medical staff warn you of the possibilities that this could be a very long-term recovery, that is, your 40% immobility, those kinds of things? Were you thinking of those kind of things, or were you thinking, hoping that one surgery, quick out and done?
It's funny that you asked that, Ron. When I had my first surgery in 2014, I was 20 at the time, never had any major surgery. So I'm thinking they're just going to fix it. I'm going to walk to the hospital. That's what hospitals are for. And the doctor said a whole bunch of stuff. But again, at 20, I'm sure you can remember me at that age, I didn't care about anything the doctors were saying. I just wanted to get back to my life. And I walked out of that first surgery pretty much without any scars besides the surgery scars, and I was able to completely go back to what I was doing. Unfortunately, I left the hospital a week after the surgery, which was too early, and I hadn't fully recovered. Still had functionality. Even after the second surgery, it was a little more difficult, and I wasn't able to move my leg as much, but I still have recovered most of what I needed to be independent. It wasn't until that third surgery where the doctors told me it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. There was no timeline. There was no, definite prognosis. They just said, you're going to have to go to therapy. You're going to have to get these things done. And I needed speech therapy. I needed occupational. I needed psychiatric therapy. I needed all kinds of therapy. But I now know that your mind and the way you think and the way you control and manipulate your thoughts play a big part in recovery. So that's what I'm working on now. The doctors may have been, set in stone and said this is where you're going to come to, but I believe there's just more. The human body is set up to recover on its own. So right now I'm just working on my mindset and telling my story, and I believe, and I fully believe, that I'm in a place where I'm going to reach 100% recovery.
I love your attitude. Man, I have never been in anything that even closely resembles to what you're going through, but I have read about, I have spoken with medical staff, and they tell me that many times it is the mental attitude, your mindset, that will frequently determine the speed and totality of recovery, possibly even more than medication. So, Kawan, it sounds like you've got the right mindset, that you're willing to endure whatever time you have to go through to get total recovery. Is that pretty well the way you are?
Yeah, and I think I gain a lot from my self-belief and confidence in my ability to have a positive mindset, but it's also, I have a lot of people in my life. I'm working with an organization called Sweethearts and Heroes, and there's a word that was developed in the 16th century. It's called bully. And when you think of bully, you think of someone that's trying to take your lunch money or do nefarious things to you. But actually, back then, it meant sweethearts. And these are the people that are motivating you to do better. And I have a lot of those people around me that are challenging me better, that believe just as much as I do that I'm going to get better. So with that reinforcement, coupled with my own belief in myself, healing, I just don't believe there's a chance for me not to get out of where I am now.
There is a chance that you could proclaim yourself to be a victim and what I'm reading in your attitude is you're not a victim at all. You are choosing to surround yourself with positive thinking people. Perhaps they're in the form of accountability partners, but you're all working together to develop the hope or develop and sustain the hope, and you have the attitude and you've got a group of you perhaps praying with you, for you, and you just know you're going to, in time, have a total recovery. Is that pretty well summarized where you are?
Absolutely. I think victim and, a concept I talk about a lot is victimhood, where people, they have something that victimizes them, a situation that victimizes them, and in that moment, in that situation, they are victims. But then they start to dwell in the place where victims live, and that's when I say they move and bought real estate in victimhood. My whole aim for life is to, this situation may have made me a victim at one point, but I believe I'm in victory now. I'm victorious because I have put those things behind me, and I'm constantly moving towards victory in every aspect of my life. So I'm not a victim, I'm a victor, and that's, how I carry my life.
That is a fabulous attitude, a mindset. Have you always been this way, or did you, through life, through associations with people, develop this victorious attitude? I'm very curious if this has always been a part of your nature or whether you had to develop it.
I think it's a mixture of both. I think it was something called latent potential, and that it was always inside of me, but to get it to come out and get it to where it has been now, I had to develop it. And I think challenges in life, things that take you out of your comfort zone, things that make situations uncomfortable and challenges you face will really bring who you really are to the forefront. You see who people really are in their last almost difficult moments. And I think triumphing over and over and over again allowed me to understand what I was made to do and what I believe about myself and my efforts to get from victimhood into victory. And now it's shining brightly that I know what challenges feel like, what they can do to you, and how to remain resilient in the face of adversity. And that's the counter to adversity, resilience. And Ron, I know you're familiar with Rocky. In that movie, you realize that Rocky won that fight by losing. And I say that because even though he was knocked down over and over and over again, he continued to get back up. And he took Apollo Creed's spirit. And I've taken the spirit of defeat. I've taken the spirit of doubt. I've taken the spirit of depression. I've taken the spirit of all the negative thoughts because I continue to be resilient and I continue to get back up.
Man, I'm loving that attitude, Kawan. It is not the number of times we've been knocked down, but how we get up from various life adversities. I love the term resilience. I am a part of that, but you clearly have resilience. You're very articulate when you mentioned a latent potential of your mindset that you will overcome. It seems to me, Kawan, you're taking the very best of your current life and moving forward. And do I understand correctly, you have a business that you call Overcome Adversity?
Yes, sir. Overcome Adversity was something that I wanted to create because a lot of times people will avoid or run away from or try to get around challenges, difficulties, adversities. And the only way you can get past those moments and actually grow as a person is if you run through it, or I like to say overcome it. And that's when you take that situation that victimized you, and you become you take that situation spirit and turn it into something I like to call victory. I also wrote a book this year called Favor. I was struggling surgery helped me find my life's purpose. But in that book, I just detailed my journey, which we talked about today. but I really feel in my spirit that resilience is the key to challenging and conquering adversity. And resilience is literally just toughness, the ability to get back up no matter how many times you've been hit and knocked down. So it seems difficult and insurmountable in the moment. But when you look back on the things you've conquered and things you've passed and things you've gotten over, it's just amazing the amount of wisdom, knowledge, and perspective you gain from each of those challenges. And I like to say I learn more from the things I had to go through than the things I read.
Again, what an attitude. That is just great. I will tell you, I resonate with your attitude that, yes, with purpose, resolve, resilience, we'll overcome any adversity that is coming to us. Marty and I are faith-based, Kawan, and we know that Scripture says that our Lord will not allow us to go through anything that we're not capable of going through, or He'll take us around, and we'll be better because of it. You're saying exactly the same thing, that you're willing to take on whatever challenge is presented to you, that your attitude with no arrogance, rather with confidence, you will overcome any adversity that you face. Does that characterize you?
Yeah, and what I've come to realize, and somebody said this to me recently, I'm not where I am because I'm special or I have some special ability or anything out of the ordinary. It was simply because of my obedience to what I was led to do with my story, what I planned to do with my story, and the fact that I was able to use what I was given to get through it. My favorite verse in the Bible, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And I declare myself healed, and I declare myself confident and competent. I declare things that have happened in my life, and I continue to do so. So with that backing of faith and a little sprinkle of favor, I think I can really do all things.
We certainly agree with that. You mentioned purpose. There are a lot of people, Kawan, who do not have a real life purpose. That may be a topic of another podcast to learn from you how you have defined your purpose. Resilience is certainly another attribute that people need. I think most people would like to be resilient. However, there are some who tend to, in the context of Rocky and losing, if I've lost something, I tend to, or let's say that I failed with something, I tend to focus too much on the failing, not getting up and maybe redirecting my efforts. And Kawan, I think we can learn a lot from you, that how is it we can be, quote, knocked down, but as Rocky did, experiencing any number of, let's say, outcomes that were not intended, but you keep going, you keep failing forward. That's an attitude that many people can learn from you.
Absolutely. And I think in reference to failure, if you look at some of the most notable people in the world, they all have failed their way to success. I like to say fail quickly, fail often, fail forward, because you never learn how to do anything correctly if you haven't tried it a few times and failed. The story goes that Thomas Edison, with the light bulb, he did it 1,000 times, and he found 999 ways how not to invent the light bulb. You look at people like Steve Jobs, who called thousands of people and failed. Look at some of these people that Colonel Sanders didn't start KFC until he was 65. So there are a number of failures that have become successes because they remain consistent, they remain confident, and they just didn't give up. They just were resilient throughout their ordeal.
That is fabulous. Yes, as Colonel Sanders likely said, and I don't know this to be true, but any time that he tried a recipe, he said, nope, that's not it. So I can put that in the this won't work category. We're going to keep trying something different until we find the magic recipe that says, got it, arrived there.
Absolutely.
What is the name of your book again?
Okay, the book is called Favor, How Struggle in Surgery Helped Me Find My Life's Purpose.
Wow. Is that available on Amazon or at the traditional bookstores, Barnes & Noble and so forth?
It's available on Amazon in both paperback and ebook. Forewarning for anyone that wants to read it, there is language in there just from, when I wrote it and how I was feeling at the time. But I think it's a good read if you can forgive me for those faux pas.
Thank you for that. Let's just say it was Kawan at the time is what it sounds like.
Absolutely.
I just believe that you have some very valuable life stories to talk with us more, perhaps about resilience, purpose, how to have the right mindset to overcome adversity. How can we fail forward? How can we be a Rocky to get up after experiencing something that was less than desired? These are topics that I think you have a lot to offer our audience. And Kawan, can we have you come back and potentially address some of these topics?
Absolutely. I'd love to come back.
Thank you for sharing. And we will be back with you. We're going to pray for continued recovery and that you will have full mobility.
Absolutely, and I will believe you and come together with you in that prayer.
Thank you, brother. I hope you clearly sense Kawan's resolve to recover from these 3 surgeries. As he described, it's possible that this cavernous malformation may have started at birth. The first 2 surgeries he was hoping could just end this whole thing, but it didn't turn out that way. He had a 3rd surgery, and as you can hear in this voice, he's still recovering. You heard him recount his story. He's still in a recovery phase and is uncertain just how many years will be in recovery. But he talks about resilience, purpose, how to overcome adversity, failing forward. As we mentioned in the intro, he talks about fail often, fail quickly, fail forward. It's a lesson that he has learned through life, and I don't think it's just an expression. Well, I know it's not just an expression. He lives it, and he has a very positive attitude. He's written the book, Favor, and describes how he has overcome his surgeries in the process of his state of recovery at this point. Just an incredible testimony and a very, very positive attitude. One of the very admiring things about Kawan is that he is not a victim. He will not claim that in any form or fashion, but rather the other V word, he's a victor. He will overcome this surgery. He's very convinced he's going to have a full recovery. And if attitude alone can bring about full recovery, I have no doubt that he will experience that full recovery. He's an inspiration to those of us who need a very positive attitude. He has it. Coaching. Marty and I are certified coaches, and we want you to experience the very positive attitude that you heard in Kawan, but there are many who don't have that positive attitude. They're allowing things of the past to cause them to be a victim. They are too often allowing things of the past to hold us back from operating at our full God-designed performance. We want to offer you a complimentary coaching session to help you determine if we are the right fit to help you overcome any obstacles, any hang-ups, let's address it that way, that are keeping you from achieving your full performance. There are some who have had statements made in the past or anything similar that keep them from achieving their full performance. Coaching can help people overcome any of those hang-ups and help to achieve your full performance. Let's get together, and Marty and I will offer a complimentary session to see if we're the right fit to help you to reach your full potential and to help you to become the person that God designed you to be. Marty and I also have a digital relationship course that is dedicated to dating, relationships, leading to marriage and romance. where we profile and focus on personalities, values, character to help you determine if the person in whom you're interested is a good lifetime mate. It is very possible you can be totally opposite people, as Marty and I are, but we are very complementary. It's incumbent on us to determine those differences, to determine if we have a lifetime mate or if those differences might lead to a permanent separation. And we want to help you determine that person who will be totally fulfilling to you, as Marty is for me with our 52 years of marriage. Contact us at 410-586-1875 or send an email to ron@thecooperculture.com or marty@thecooperculture.com, or visit us on the website thecooperculture.com. We hope that we can garner a 5-star rating from you. We hope we can also garner your respect to subscribe. Let's engage together. Let's share experiences. Kawan has a very positive attitude. What do you do to have a very positive attitude? Or perhaps, what do you need to overcome to have a very positive attitude? Let's share together. Let's uplift each other. Let's advance each other. We look forward to working with you.